5.
I don't have an agenda.
Are you ready, Christine? Christine's my director. That's my wife. I would turn it, but then I would ruin my display of Los Angeles Dodger caps because that's a theme tonight. Well, we're coming to you from the 7428 studio in Westchester. And how exciting that we got another loaded show. So let's go over something. Yesterday, Thursday, we dropped episode 3 of Bert Mandelbaum. Now, Bert Mandelbaum, MD, he's an advisor to the United States Olympic Committee, also to the World Cup, in addition to multiple professional organizations. He really gave us some sound advice about living in this current era, and also just his life story is so inspirational. One of the things he said I thought that was so important was talked about adversity, how we're all facing adversity. And adversity is the engine of unimagined possibilities. And so we took that to heart, and that pretty much is the genesis of this Facebook Live show. Because once we needed to live in this virtual world, we went about forming this show and the one we do on Wednesday in order to connect with our audience and also to push our podcast. All right. So as I mentioned, we're here in beautiful the 7428. There's me and Bert right there. Adversity, the engine of unimagined possibilities. It's all right. Christine just called herself out for being slow on the roll.
I haven't even been drinking yet.
All right. So here we go. So that's Bert right there. Oh, yeah. And I wanted to mention next week on the podcast, see that guy? That's Rear Admiral Hal Pittman. No joke. Rear Admiral. I mean, this is what's one of the cool things about jumping into this game is I get to meet all these interesting and important people. The Rear Admiral there, he was in charge of NATO security in Iraq. Okay, so he knows a lot about staging and being on call and dealing with crisis. And that's what we're dealing with in our country. And the armed forces are coming out strong, setting up those med units and those med tents and everything. And so Hal Pittman is going to come on the show next week to talk about that. But then he'll be our guest on the podcast. We've recorded that maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. But he'll also come on next Friday. So one of the perks of the job, you get to hang out with admirals and so forth. All right. We're going to send it from Westchester over to my birthplace.
Am I still late here with these?
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot about my sister.
I thought it was my fault this time. It's
also coming up next week on the show will be My Stuff's Bag Foundation. That's my sister's foundation. You're going to learn a lot more about that. So what's up, Janine? We'll see you next week, and that'll be fun. Okay.
And don't forget.
And let's see what else we got. Oh, that's going to be on our Wednesday show, but we'll prep it at the end. And that's Ella Parker. So let's go to Venice now and say hello to Marlee, the producer of Sports Stories podcast. Hi, Marlee, over there in Venice, right off the boardwalk.
She's going to get a 3-2-1 here in a
3-2-1, Marlee.
Not quite 3-2-1. Now it's 3-2-1.
Hi, Mar.
Hi.
Yay.
Yeah, we're all up. We were working right up until the last second getting the show ready.
So was I. I was driving around town with my mask and my gloves. Hopefully you'll see a picture of that.
I know. That was awesome today because Carlos, our great sponsor, we'll see him in a second. Carlos with Casablanca Restaurant in Venice. So both our Marlee's place in Venice, our place in Westchester, and then whatever guests are in the area, they get hooked up with his food and margaritas, and which is dynamite. But Marlee went out delivering today in full gear, which was great. Yeah, PPE gear.
For sure. I was trained in the EMT field, so I feel like it was necessary to do that.
And back in the day, you used to get demerits for not having your PE gear, but now you actually get merit for having your PPE gear, which is great.
Well, welcome back, guys, to another episode. I'm happy to be here on my remote location. I am here to tell you about our guests that are coming up later in this show. So I'm really excited about that. First, we will have Mike McKay, who is one of our good friends, and he's the founder of the nonprofit organization Heroes Movement, which bridges the gap between veterans and everyday life. Mike, awesome guy. I'm really excited to catch up with him and see what's happening in his world over in Detroit or Wyandotte. Is that where it is?
Yep, close enough. Yep.
Wyandotte. So he's coming up. After that, we have Doug O'Neill, who hits home for me because my 30th birthday is coming up, and I wanted to go to the Kentucky Derby for my birthday. So this is pretty much just putting it full circle for me. Doug O'Neill will be on. He's a horse trainer and 2-time Kentucky Derby winner. Excited to have him and hear everything that's happening with the horses and the coronavirus and all that.
Mhm.
We also have Kipp Lennon coming up on the show. He's a recording artist from the band Venice. Some of our favorite music is some of our original music that we have on all of our podcasts. I'm excited to get to know him and catch up with him. And last, we have Eric Nusbaum, who's an author for Stealing Home in Los Angeles, which is him talking about the Shelter's Ravine and how we pretty much took it over, which you told me all about this story, Denny, and it's awesome, and I can't wait to actually read a book, maybe? Should I read it? I think so.
I would be impressed if you did some deep reading.
So I'm excited for all of our guests. So you guys stick around. It's going to be a kind of a long one, but it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited to hear from all these people. I'm sad I don't get to actually talk to them, but I'll be listening.
Okay. Well, I remember last week how you almost got to the cheers too early, and I was like, let's not do that. We got to bring in our sponsor.
I'm ready for it now, though. So can we bring in our sponsor so we can cheers?
Where's Carlos?
Hold on. Got to find him in the stream.
Let's see. We got to find him in the stream.
I love Carlos. So he delivered all of our food to us, which is what I'm eating right here, guys. It's so good. The homemade tortilla chips. There's like birria and beans.
Hey, how you doing, Danny? You see me out here?
What's up, Carlos? We got your buddy.
Good.
Hey, Carlos,
We've been working hard today, doing a little bit of a combo pack. We got the fresh tortillas, a little margarita, which you're having. So that's what I've been doing. So I'm in the kitchen today. So everything's great. Just want to tell you, really loved your Wednesday show.
Okay.
Really liked your Wednesday show with Juju Watkins. So I just want to tell you that.
Hey, Carlos, we'll get back to that. How about let's go right now. Let's do a cheers to get this. Let's get this started because it's because we hope everybody start to join us. And by the way, Doug O'Neill, our guest, was super stoked with all of the what's coming on. Let me see. Okay, cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone. Happy Facebook Live at 5.
Carlos, oh, wait. Hey, Marlee?
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
I know you're living in a house right now with a number of people. And how's that going over there?
It's crazy. We're almost at our 10.
Okay. That's my favorite part of the show, Carlos, is when I get to swipe people out. And anyway, so Marlee's gone. Now it's just you and I. We could talk a little bit about Wednesday's show, which just came off. So tell me what you think. I
really love the interview with Juju Watkins. The most thing about it that I get excited, I've been watching a lot of the girls play, Vanessa de la Cruz over there at Sierra Canyon, but really standout, Juju Watson. Most exciting thing about it is we get to see her for 3 more years at Windward, so I can't wait to see her.
Yeah, you're a big prep sports fan. You always have been. I know you and I attended a couple games. We were at the one game with Sierra Canyon. I think they played the Windward boys, and they about packed that Cal State Northridge facility. It was crazy, huh?
That was a really great thing. Not even crazy is there was more Windward fans. That's how much Sierra Canyon is cool, is that they don't even have to bring their own fans. They fill it up with the opposing fans, and people are so interesting. So that was really great. Love sitting courtside watching some of the better talent in Southern California. No
doubt, Carlos. How's business at your place? Are you guys doing okay?
We're holding steady. We're staying safe, and then we're just trying to do anything we got. So we're trying to get some margaritas. So we're doing a little combo for anybody who's watching the show. You can call me today, and just for today, it's going to be 7 tortillas, the green salsa, the margarita, and for your listeners, it's just going to be usually regular price is $20, but for you, if you say Denny Sports Story with Denny Lennon, we're going to do that for $15. Okay,
all right, not bad. You know, I mean, I appreciate it, and I'm sure our listeners do too. And hopefully, as this goes on, it gets more popular, more and more will come. Hey, Carlos, in the last episode we had last Friday, your girls submitted a movie to us. And it was good, and it was popular with Agent Zero and so forth. So it made me think. I was wondering how things going in the house, you know, with you guys in quarantine and so forth. Get ready,
Christine. Things are going.
Oh God! All right, here's what's fun about wiping people off. I used to coach both of those two, so it's just kind of like kicking them out of practice a little bit. Okay, God, that's such good stuff. All right, we're gonna go to our first guest now, and we're gonna bring in somebody that we support, and we're gonna go to Wyandotte, Michigan, and my boy Mike McKay is here. So let's see if we can bring up Mike McKay of the Heroes Movement. This is somebody we partnered with on Sports Stories to support their efforts. McKay, you're here. I got my shirt on too, buddy.
You're looking out. Can you hear me just fine?
Yep, I can hear you, buddy. How's it going?
It's great, man. Michigan's on lockdown just like California.
Yep.
And just lockdown, man. Just keep your sanity any way you can, eating good food and working out and sleeping a lot.
Hey, Mike, let's see if Christine's going to run it up, but want to talk a little bit when you came on the show. You're out here in Los Angeles, right? And you came on the show and you came over to the 7428 studio.
Yeah, I had a really awesome finger roll on my missed shot.
You did. We're going to see if we can run that up. I was going to break it down a little bit.
Talk about Martini.
But actually, first, let's go to this. There's somebody that I got a chance to meet through you. It was Mike Martini. And he's also a guest on our episode, and he's up in the screen now. Can you tell us a little bit about Mike? About Doc Martini.
Well, happy belated 95th birthday to Doc, March 21st.
All right.
Yeah, still killing it. Doc is he's a World War II veteran and Korean War veteran. I met him through the American Legion Post 283, and I saw him not getting around too well, and I went up to him. I'm like, "Hey, Doc," I was like, "What happened?" I was expecting him to say something like, I fell down because I'm old and shit. But he goes, I was playing tennis with the young guys, the 70-year-olds, and I'm just not as quick as I used to be, and I fell down. So I was like, well, you should come work out and help rehab. And so he's been a part of Heroes Movement for 4 years, a little over 4 years now. Outstanding individual, awesome guy, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. And a hero. I mean, just a complete stud. And like I said, 95 on March 21st.
Brilliant. Hey, go ahead and explain, because some people may not have seen you on our podcast, but explain what you do with Heroes Movement. It's awesome, McKay.
So essentially what we do is we partner with gyms across the country to provide veterans with free small group training. So we make sure the gyms are pass our vetting process and they're following post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury training guidelines. Once they pass the vetting process, the veteran can go in there. The gym can promote that they train veterans for free. And then the veteran does train for free, and they sign into a sign-in sheet. And at the end of the month, the gym goes ahead and sends us the sheet. We pay the bill for the veterans. Oh,
it's brilliant. And you deal with veterans with either physical or mental or trauma, and you kind of specify the workout for them.
Well, any and all veteran, any era, any age, doesn't matter. There's any veteran qualifies. Now, the thing that we really look to do is we look to take care of movement first. If you move better, you move more. And then when you move more, you feel better. And a positive, physical outcome, it's better for your state of mind. So a healthy physical body promotes a healthy physical mind. So we go after movement first, but we do follow all the post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury training guidelines. We don't ask. That's your business. You want to open up down the road, that's fine. But we make sure that we cater to the veteran no matter what without asking questions. So that's
it's such important work that you do, and just know that all of us that are connected with you are really proud of you and the efforts you're making. We know you're making those extra efforts to do what you can for our veterans. So McKay, the day we met was at Mark Verge's place, and Mark Verge lives in Santa Monica. He's got a beautiful beach house, and he had a fundraiser there for you. Neil Everett from the ESPN anchor, who's going to be a guest next week, he anchored it, and we honored Doug O'Neill.
Great guy. Did I show you this? Wait, this side. You see that?
What is it?
That is a gift from Mark Verge.
Let me see. Yeah, right. A little lower. Oh, it's a Doug O'Neill bobblehead. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's probably my bookshelf.
His head was bobbing that night. Looked good. No, I mean, he just had a lot of good jokes and his head was bobbing. Was great. Hey, we're going to bring him in a second. First, I wanted to say something. I know you're a Navy guy, and so when you were on the podcast, we had a we had a quiz about Magnum PI, the television series, and you kind of tanked it, like you didn't even know he was Navy, right?
I said Marines or Army. I don't even know what I said.
I know, but look at, so I wanted to show you this shot. This is when I was in Hawaii visiting one of the sites of the Magnum PI show. So
that's season 2. That is with the dwarf and the dwarf and the giant.
Brilliant.
Who's been watching Magnum PI? I told you.
And I love that I get text from you and you're like, dude, season 3, episode 4 is stellar. I'm like, oh yeah.
Dude, Higgins was totally fooled by that girl, but she actually loved him.
See, this is good. This is good. We'll go deep on one of these days. So I'm proud of you. You stepped up your Magnum game. You followed up your missed shot on the hoop with a nice finger roll. And so, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Hey, I think it's time to bring in Doug O'Neill.
Can I throw one thing in there, Denny?
No, you stick around. Yeah, go ahead. What you got?
Yeah. Hey, we're all shut down at Heroes Movement. All the gyms are shut down everywhere. And isolation right now is of the utmost importance to stop the spread of the COVID-19.
Yeah.
But isolation is also one of the things that drives veterans to suicide. So if anyone out there knows a veteran that they have any kind of concern with, or just any veteran whatsoever, you never know what's going on in guys' heads or girls' heads. Reach out, because now is one of the most important times to reach out to people and let them know. Let them know you're there for them. I mean, because, suicide is crazy. Even before this happened, one of my good friends from my hockey team hung himself December 20th. Another friend shot himself right after the Super Bowl, February 2nd. And that was before we were on lockdown. So now that we are on lockdown, you just don't know what's going on in guys' heads. One of the guys that did it on February 2nd, he skated with us that day. So, I mean, you don't know. So reach out to veterans that you know and let them know you love them. Let them, because you just gotta let them know.
Dude, those are really important words. Thank you. I'm glad you got that out there. We all need to be aware of what's going on and how this is isolating some people. So it's solid, buddy. You're a good man.
Thanks,
all right, time to bring in one of our guests, and you can stay up and talk to him. That's all right.
I like giving Doug shit. He's from Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, Rock the Red Wing hat.
Woo, come on. Team McKay, baby. Team McKay, man. That was that was emotional, man, what you just said there about the veterans and I can't thank you enough for everything you do, Mike, and got to meet so many cool heroes through you and Neil Everett, and I wrote down, call a veteran. I know a few vets, so I'm going to definitely call them when we're done here just to tell them that. Just I love them, check in on them, and something I wouldn't have done if I didn't hear you say that, so thank you.
Appreciate that. Cheers to that, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers. Right on.
Cheers. See, I got the sticker too there somewhere.
Carlos couldn't get the delivery out to Wyandotte. Sorry about that, McKay.
It's all right.
But thank you, Carlos, too. We will definitely, we've kind of made this list because my wife, nor I, can cook really well. So we've been ordering out a lot, and we're going to add Casablanca to our list.
Nice. That's what it's there for. I would imagine, the same way we all kind of connected that night at Verge's house, that you get a lot of people that you get to meet, McKay, through your work. You ready, Kristen?
No, absolutely. I mean, you. I've known Doug.
Boom. Do you like that, O'Neill? See, I set them up. Right? And then me and Christine, we high five because we swipe them off when they're mid-sentence. It's magic. It's gold. Going out there. You all right? You got your delivery, I take it. Did you see the delivery girls that came, the rice girls with the full PPE and so forth?
No, I didn't, but I'm sure they were because the bags looked super clean. Everything was perfect. And again, my wife Lynette and my son Daniel and daughter Kaylin were going nuts with all the food. So we're set for a few days, and hopefully we can pay it forward with some more orders from Casablanca to some of our friends.
So I love it. I one, appreciate you coming on. Two, wanted to educate some people about you. I know you came out SoCal way when you're about 10 years old, and then So how do you started like as a hot walker or something like that at the Del Mar racetrack?
I did. I moved from Michigan to California with my family at age 10. And, instead of going to Disneyland or something like that, my dad took us to Santa Anita, to the racetrack. That was kind of his version of Disneyland. And I just fell in love with the races right away, and had a mentor and a coach named Mike Amadei who hooked me up with a trainer. And right out of high school, I went to work at Del Mar. I like to say I graduated from University of Del Mar because I went right from St. Monica's to Del Mar and never looked back.
You definitely got on the radar. I love the races. I go back to the, just learning about Seabiscuit when I was a kid. That's kind of like the Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth is, Seabiscuit is. But it was really like, what was it, 77 and 78? Was it Affirmed and Seattle Slew? I might have those 2 years mixed up that they triple crowned. And that's when I learned what the Triple Crown was. And it was super exciting. Then when I got to know you and you had I'll Have Another. And it won the first 2 legs, won the Derby, and it won the Preakness. But then you had to pull it out of the Belmont. Can you tell us a little bit about, I think of a torn tendon or something like that?
Yeah, that was a pretty unbelievable experience. It started in 2011 with I'll Have Another breaking his maiden real impressively at what used to be Hollywood Park in Inglewood. And then we sent him back east, and he ran in a stake race, and he came out of that with a sore shin. So Paul and Zilla read him, who owned him, and gave him plenty of time, got the shin right. And then in 2012, early in 2012, we ran him in a stake race to Bob Lewis at Santa Anita, and he was like 30-1. No, everyone thought, "What are you doing in there?" And he won that, and then boom, boom, boom. Before you know it, we won the Santa Anita Derby, and then he won the Kentucky Derby, won the Preakness, and I think he was like 3-5 to win the Triple Crown, which hadn't happened since '77, like you said. And so yeah, we were pretty jazzed, and then unfortunately, like a day before the race, he got a little heat and a little swelling in his flexor tendon, which is a pretty key part of their legs, and so we had to pull him out. But
isn't there something funky about Belmont, like the way they have the horses in a separate area or something like that?
No, not so much. But Belmont is unique in the way that it's a 1.5 mile circumference, so it's a huge. Most dirt racetracks in the U.S. are a mile in circumference, and this is 1.5 miles, so it's huge. And they nicknamed the Big Sandy because it's very sand based. It's real deep, kind of made for a rainy season. And so you'll see a lot of horses come from the West Coast, go there, and sometimes it's not as kind on them because we're used to running on kind of a faster, firmer course out here on the West Coast.
But what an exciting run that would have been. I mean, I was stoked because, I knew you, but also you had such a great name for your horse. I'll Have Another. I think that captivated people's attention. And then, then you crushed it in both the Derby. And then, I mean, once you win the Derby, you get so much attention. And then when you pile on with the Preakness and nobody had done it in a long time, I mean, that was just like a wild ride.
It really was. And I'm so blessed that the horse was owned by Paul and Zilla Redham, and they were so generous. And we had like a crew of about 10 of us that we probably only needed 3 of us, but Paul and Zilla were willing to send like 10 of us on the road. So we had this big group of people that surrounded him with a lot of love and attention, and it enabled us to enjoy every minute of it along the way too. Because that is one thing. Sometimes when you get a horse that's really special like that, the anxiety goes high. Everyone gets kind of a little bit anxious, and horses definitely, they're amazing animals, and they're like mirrors of ourselves. So if you give off positive confidence, they'll give that to you. If you give off anxiety and nervousness, they'll give that back to you. So he was really surrounded by a lot of confident, loose, experienced horsemen, and he fed off that, and what a ride it was.
A lot of some of the fun part of doing this is people start to jump on, and so David Teitelbaum, is that his name? Said he had horses with you.
Yeah, well, he had. That's not good when they had horses with me. I must have screwed something up.
Yeah. All right. Well, people, they just shuttle me. But hey, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was, let's see if I can get this up right. Bam. This was in the Daily Breeze. I like to give the publications. And yeah, Doug, I still read newspapers. But they talked about, shutting down at Santa Anita. And it was kind of such a weird, this was maybe a week or so ago, but it's such an odd time that some of the tracks are down, but others stayed up, and it had to do with either health departments, but not necessarily the mandate. So could you kind of fill us in a little bit about, that's got to be tricky for you guys. It
is, credit to the Stronach Group that owns Santa Anita Racetrack. They also own Gulfstream and Golden Gate and a few other tracks around the country. But they were early on, before we had to do all the shelter in our homes. They had enforced all these new restrictions. So they made the barn area so safe and so secure. And it was just very disappointing. And what makes it worse, I think it was some type of animal activists, extremists that pushed for this, and kind of using the pandemic to kind of push their political agenda was just crazy. But you've got, like 750 men and women that work alongside with the horses, that use the dormitories at Santa Anita, live right there. And so anyway, it was very safe quarantine area. And there was, the dormitories and the salaries and the medical care all come from the revenue from the afternoon races. So the cancel the races was really, it's a scary time for a lot of people. And I'm hoping they can reverse that really soon. You mentioned a little bit earlier about Hollywood Park, and, that's obviously where SoFi Stadium's going up right now, which is going to be state of the art and awesome. But do you have a little bit of a history with Hollywood Park? Oh man, that was a sad moment when that closed down. I loved Hollywood Park, and being in Santa Monica here, didn't even have to get on the freeway. I would just go right up Centinela to the track. So that was an unbelievable facility, and it'll be interesting now with it being a football stadium and with this virus. Hopefully it subsides soon, but I still think some of these facilities are going to have to take a different approach with people not wanting to sit right on top of each other for the next few months or so, I would think. But it will be exciting whenever they open that and get to see a Ram or Charger game.
Actually going back a little more in history, you're a St. Monica boy. I know you went to St. Monica, as did my cousin, and it's time to bring him in. That's my cousin Kipp Lennon, who also is a St. Monica guy. I was St. Bernard, by the way. We were a whole lot better in basketball. Just want to bring that up. Oh, there it is.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Is this right? Am I doing it right? Is this right, Denny? Can you hear me? Thank you.
Yes. Well played, Kipp. Well played. Say hello to
Doug. Same O's.
Hey, fellow Mariner. How you doing, brother?
How are you? Good. I was just listening to your story. Amazing stuff.
Really cool. Man. I tell you, I got a Lennon story with, I married a Galvin, and the Galvins are huge.
Yeah, Lynette. You're married to Lynette.
Galvin, beautiful gal. Yeah. So beautiful. And her cousin are the Maciases.
And that's my brother-in-law.
That's a small world, man. And
my sister, my niece Mary just texted this to me like about half an hour ago. She goes, "Wait a minute, he's married to Dad's cousin." So with Lennon and Galvins, you're gonna run into a lot of connections. There's just hundreds and hundreds all over. It's so funny.
Oh, I had cool. Andy Macias called me last night, and I told him I was going to be on Denny's show, and he said St. Monica's was playing St. Bernard's. The whistle had blown, so the play's over, and all of a sudden he got leveled, and he was like, "What the hell?" And it was Denny Lennon. He was like,
you can
hear the whistle. That's all right. It was,
I always play at the end of the whistle. Just so so we're clear. I'd like to play to the end of the whistle. I'd like to think the second the P drops, I'm done. Hey,
Doug, what year did you from St. Monica's?
86.
Oh, 86. Okay.
Yeah, I probably look like 76, but it's the lighting and it's a terrible camera on my thing. I told Denny, they say cameras add like 10 pounds here. There must be 4 cameras on this computer screen.
Hey, Doug, can you tell us about some of your favorite teachers from St. Monica? Christine?
Oh God, how about a Mr. Escobar?
I got too late.
Yeah. God, it's
Yes.
my favorite part, Kippy. It's my
Dennis,
favorite part.
very, very proud of you. I can feel it. I can feel by how you were asking him that now was the time you were going to swipe, and I'm very proud of you.
And I know you're going to be prepared for that time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Here's the real test is next week when I have a rear admiral that was in charge of NATO security in Iraq. Like when I have Hal Pittman on the show, if I switch him off, then the show's legit, right? But I might have to change my address from 7428 to undisclosed.
Did you like how I kissed up to Doug O'Neill with this?
I did.
Kind of nice, right?
So as an accomplished artist in the music area, people will ask, why would I bring you on a sports show? And I will tell them two reasons. One, as a youngster, you and I would play and play catch in the front yard of Harding on Harding Avenue. And I was always especially impressed with how you could do slow motion running and commentary. Like it was NFL films. That was it.
What are we looking at here?
Right. And then,
He's looking at
okay, well, just some background pictures.
Right.
We got you. And the other tip is, you know, we made that run at the Venice Backyard Championships that one year. We don't have to go any farther than that, but, you know, we had our moments.
Yeah, we did. We did. And I was, unfortunately, you and I were heading towards the finals, and it looked like it was our year. And I got called for work because I sang every week on a show called Solid Gold, which most people wouldn't remember. It was a TV countdown show. And it was like my bread and butter, and I owed it to the guy. And, you know, I think we did 1 or 2 more seasons of that show. But, oh, how I wish I didn't go that day. Because then I could have won the whole thing. By the way, it should say Venice in there somewhere. We haven't said the band Venice. I'm in the band Venice as well.
I know. I didn't know if you would claim them tonight or not, or because I didn't think you were fully committed to the show.
Well, no, that's why I'm only sort of going like this. I'm just sort of committed, and then depending on how good it gets, I'll kind of turn full face, and you'll get.
I never quite envied you or having to sing in front of people. Not my game, but I would say this, Kipp. I did envy the stadiums and arenas you got to sing in. You always did these, whether it's anthems or whether you're touring with Roger Waters, whatever. You got to go to some of the great sport, cathedrals in the world.
Unbelievable. Like, especially, well, with Venice and with Roger Waters, you're right. Because with Venice over the years, we started doing anthems, I think around 88 was the first time we did a Lakers game. We did, Bill, you've probably talked about Bill Sharman on your show before, but Laker great coach and Boston Celtics player, Bill Sharman, Hall of Famer, was a super, super good friend of our family. He was like family in our family. And so he asked Dr. Buss if we could come sing for the very first playoff game in 1988. So that was still Showtime with Magic and Kareem and Worthy.
They were going in a row, right? They were going for three.
They were going for 3 in a row, yes.
Yeah.
And they got it. And so we were there for the very first playoff game against Utah Jazz. So there we are standing on center court at the Forum. This is before they went to the Staples Center. And giants, I mean, literal and figurative giants all around us. Kareem is standing behind us and Malone and Stockton. It was absolutely incredible. Yeah, that's where we were. I had a perm back then, unfortunately. But that's where we were at the Forum, and it was incredible. And they gave us tickets as well, so we got to watch the game.
You sent me over of this. Yeah. So good.
I can read you that letter if you want, unless you want to read it. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, please do.
I'm finding it.
It's a letter from Bill Sharman after we did that, and it says, "Dear Kippy, on behalf, family calls me Kippy, so there you go. On behalf of Dr. Jerry Buss and the Los Angeles Lakers, we would like to thank you and each member of your popular Venice group for singing the national anthem before our first playoff game. The response by our fans has been sensational, and your beautiful rendition was very exciting and much appreciated by all. Accordingly, we would like to congratulate you again and wish you continued good luck and success with your musical careers. Sincere regards, Bill Sharman." And it's on Laker, on the Laker thing, letterhead and everything. It's so cool. It's so cool.
I have 2 questions. I always want to know what people's hidden agendas are when they put things in quotation marks.
Yeah.
And so he put Venice in quotation marks, and he may very well have been referring to your rock group, but he also may have been referring to the Venice element. So I keep an eye out on that. And he congratulate.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was about. They were using typewriters back then. There was a lot of stuff that happened that you couldn't control.
Bill Sharman was this is crazy. Like, not many people know this. He was a really good baseball player before he played for the Boston Celtics. And
yes,
he was
footnote.
AAA ball, and he got pulled up to the Brooklyn Dodgers roster for that 3-game series against the Giants, and he was sitting on the bench at that famous Bobby Thompson home run. You know, the Giants win the pennant, that whole call. He was on the bench for that. So he's just like, he's in that part of history. He's with the Boston Celtics, and then to the Lakers, he's like this guy that not everybody knows that is.
And he never played, right? He never played. I think he was only up for that game, and then he never played.
From the minors, isn't that crazy?
Wow. And he used to come to our kids, games at Penmar Park and stuff. Like, he was a real sports fan right to the very end. He and his wife Joyce would come and support our kids all the time and invite us to things. Great guy. Hall of Famer.
I want you to.
So what was great about Venice, about doing these anthems everywhere? Sorry, there's helicopters in Venice Beach all the time, as you know. So what was great was we get to go to these incredible places. Like Coors Field is amazing because that's a building that's built just for baseball, kind of like Dodger Stadium. So it has a different feeling than going to a football or baseball stadium. It's just like, and everybody's really proud of the team because it's the only team. It's like, that's it. And so it was really funny because we were on our way to the game. I think we landed in Colorado. We were on tour doing radio promo, and then we were supposed to do the anthem. And then the day before we were supposed to do it, they called and they said, there's some local choir that we gave the gig to. Also, we promised them, and there's all these kids, and they really want to sing the anthem. Could you guys maybe do America the Beautiful? We were like, okay. So
grade school days.
In the band on the way to the gig, Michael's making up the arrangements because Michael can figure out all the arrangements for us, And so we're all just making up this song as we're going to sing for like 20,000 people. And we get there, and we did it. We did fine. I still have the recording of it somewhere of us rehearsing, going, "Oh my God, we're almost there."
How about like Wembley Stadium? I think you sang there, somewhere in Paris. I mean, that's crazy. Those are such iconic stadiums in the world.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, we played River Plate Stadium when we sang backgrounds with Roger Waters doing the Wall Tour. So we played River Plate Stadium in Buenos Aires. We played Fenway, we played Wrigley, we played, just to walk up at soundcheck and touch the green monster, and there's nobody telling you no, and you're just standing there, or to touch the ivy at Wrigley. Like, it's really crazy. And you're up on stage and you're singing and you're seeing all the people on the rooftops watching the concert, that normally watch a baseball game. It's really incredible. And I snuck onto the pitcher's mound at Yankee Stadium as well, even though you're not supposed to, because, come on.
You got to do what you got to
do. So you really feel this weird, we played Madison Square Garden and we played a lot of places that are, Staples Center and all that. But something about playing an outdoor arena is just so iconic. You can feel the history in the building without getting too poetic about it. You really can feel it.
That we saw you guys at, I was just there for a football game to watch the Chargers.
You didn't even know we were going to be there.
And then next thing you came up from behind me and I was like, wait, what? And then all of a sudden you guys did this whole, tour through the 60s, 70s, and 80s of Chargers history. Yeah.
It was so cool. We got asked by a friend who's part of the NFL Network to come down and do it. And they said, there's already somebody doing the anthem, but we want you guys to play at halftime, and we'll do a salute to all the Charger greats. So they gave us all uniforms, jerseys, as you can see. And we went out, and they pushed the stage out on stage. And that was literally, I think, within a couple of months of us having just played at Dodger Stadium, doing the same kind of thing, but it was for a charity event for Clayton Kershaw, his ping pong tournament. And
that I want to hear about. So tell everybody about how you did that. He does this ping pong tournament on one of their off days. All of the Dodgers go, but it's a who's who of Los Angeles celebrities, and they raise a lot of money for his charity.
Exactly, and they wanted us to be our cover band You know, we weren't doing like a concert. They just set us up as like almost like cocktail music. But anything, we said, we'll do anything. You know, where they literally set up the stage on second base, and they used the big screen, both big screens at Dodger Stadium. And you know, we've known the guy who's the director of that big screen since he was a kid. You know, Dan Valdivia went to St. Mark's with all of us. And so he was working that night. So he was just putting us up. There we were on the big screen the whole time we were playing with big close-ups, and it was absolute dream. And we're playing ping pong out on. You know what? Dang it! I got 2 great videos on my phone. I'll send them to you. Really funny videos of us sound checking at both of those, at the Chargers game and at the Dodger game.
Before we bring in our next guest, I want you to tell me a little bit. We lost a great one in Bill Withers today from the music world. He's important part of our soundtrack. My wife and I, as we love, Lovely Day, and When I'm Kissing My Love, I think is one of my favorites. Or that's just got great. Incredible. You met him, I think.
I did at West LA Music. Our good friend Mark Spiewak, who, I think Michael bought our first PA or some. We always bought stuff at West LA Music, and this guy was a great. He was always introducing artists to other artists. And so I was there one day talking to him about our charity that we do every year at St. Monica's, the Artists for the Arts Foundation. It's now called the Greg Coote Foundation thing. And it's basically to raise money for the arts in the public schools. And he said, hey, Bill Withers is here. He's a longtime customer. Why don't you come? I'll come introduce you. So I went in. This was about, 10 years ago. And I was just, Bill Withers, that's like, hey, Bugs Bunny's in the other room. Would you like to meet him? It's like that. Like, he's such an icon. So I went in, and he couldn't have been nicer. He was really, really cool. He hadn't done any live shows in ages. He was really sort of bitter about the business part of showbiz, but very, very much into writing and supporting other artists. And he was really cool and really nice guy. I felt so lucky to be able to talk to him about his music and everything.
That's brilliant.
I think my favorite. I know. Hold on, we're going. No, I know. Hold on. I know. That. That's my favorite.
I know. I always thought that'd be the hardest one to pick for karaoke, and it would be good for
or to write out the lyrics.
I know you want to be on with the author of Stealing Home because you're a Dodger fan, but I was going to tell you, as I bring in Eric Nusbaum, the author, solid. That's why I went strong Dodgers. He's a Culver City boy. Hey, Eric's here. And us 2 Venice boys used to, blame everything on the Culver City people for stealing our stuff during CCD at our Catholic school.
I mean, I'm not going to deny anything.
How's it going, Eric?
It's going great. It's great. It's
that's my
good to be here.
My cousin Kipp there. He's telling you the Dodger Stadium stories. Kipp, there's one thing before I let you go. You're talking about doing a virtual concert or something, maybe with the band.
We're working on it. We're working on it. The thing is,
yes. Yeah, got him. I'm so happy. I know, Eric, you don't understand. He was so prepared to not be, and he would have turned his back on me. That was money. That was money.
All right.
That was very coming through right there. Eric, welcome, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I feel like I'm just waiting now for you to swipe me away, though, so I'm going to be on edge.
Yeah, no, actually,
I've had to watch all the other contestants on this show.
Yes.
Get eliminated.
Usually the anchor we go easy on. So you're pulling up the back. Hey, what a great story you got. I want to let everybody know we're talking to you in Tacoma. You moved there, Tacoma, Washington. You moved there recently.
Yeah, we just moved up here in the fall, so almost 6 months now.
Oh wow!
And I'm looking out at sunny skies, which is good news too, because we don't always get those here.
All right, and you moved up there 6 months ago, but not long after the virus really took over your state. Yeah,
well, Washington was the first state to really get it, right? We had the first deaths here. I think maybe the first cases too. So we were early adapters on the not leaving your house lifestyle. A lot of very big loads of groceries at Costco, a lot of just walks around the neighborhood, but staying away from your neighbors while you take a walk. It's been pretty weird, but we're trying to make the best of it.
It's such an odd new world that we've inhabited here. And, as I talk to people, I just kind of say, this is our burden. you know, whether it was my uncles or that generation had to handle World War II. Before that was the Depression, and everybody's had to go through some significant things generationally. And I was never drafted for a war. 2008 didn't hit me as hard as it could have, and this is our burden, I think, to hand off to our kids. We got to get our country through this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried for what's going to happen on the other side. I think, just kind of ending the quarantine is going to be one part of it, but there's going to be a lot of lasting damage too. And I'm scared about what it's going to be. I don't think anybody really knows yet.
No, I don't think so. So as I'm perusing through the Los Angeles Times, I get pretty fired up that for one day in the paper version, they weren't buried inside of the California section, because once the sports went away, they slashed them off. So they got their own section for Sunday, and I was all fired up. Then I got to the back, and I got super pumped up because this story was back there. And this is a story I know a little bit about, but it's an excerpt from your book, and it talks about the Dodgers building Dodger Stadium in Chavez Ravine. And this excerpt is great, but then I dove in on the book quickly, and it's brilliant, dude. It's so good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that the excerpt did its job and roped you in a little bit. Yeah. So tell our audience a little bit about this. I know we can't, tell the whole story because it's certainly layered, but we can certainly, give a brief description of it and what went on. Yeah. So if you want the whole story, you got to buy the book.
Yeah,
but so the basic story is how LA got Dodger Stadium, and it's a complicated story, but not that complicated. Essentially, there were these three communities in the land that we now think of as Dodger Stadium and the parking lots more than anything else. And in the late 40s, early 50s, LA decided that it wanted to basically raise these communities to make way for what was going to be a super ambitious public housing project for 3,600 units, like giant. But before the housing project,
the Truman urban planning.
Yeah. So this was a time when the country was really it could have gone the other way. We have a society that really values home ownership, obviously. And at the time, people were thinking maybe this isn't the best way to house everybody. LA especially had a huge overpopulation problem, lack of housing. I mean, lack of housing is familiar, right? And a lot of people thought public housing would be the best way to kind of fix that. But before it could really take off, the Red Scare happened. And, a lot of kind of opponents to public housing, real estate developers and stuff like that, latched onto that as a way to stop it and a way to kind of kill the public housing movement. So what happened were these families were evicted for the most part to make way for a housing project. And then the housing project didn't happen because of the Red Scare. So the land sat almost all vacant, except for a few families that were resisting for 5 years until the Dodgers came to LA. And before the city could kind of finish off the sale of the land to the Dodgers, they had to evict the final families. And some of that was really ugly and violent.
It was. It's interesting. You see, I kind of forget how I came across that story when I was younger, but you came across it in a unique way when you were at Culver City High School.
Yes, I did. At Culver City High School in my U.S. history class, junior year, I was lucky enough to be part of a class where the guest speaker was the kind of main public housing official in LA behind this project. It was called Elysian Park Heights. And he also happened to be secretly a member of the Communist Party. And his party membership got exposed in court in a hearing, and it ruined his life. He lost his job. His wife was a school teacher. She lost her job. And he had to go work as a nighttime janitor at a department store. And he saw the thing he believed in so much, public housing, pretty much ruined because of kind of his own demise.
Wow. And it's so interesting how you bring up the Abrana, the tale of the last holdout and her way that she made it in the area. You bring in Wilkinson and where he met you, and that intersected. And you talk in the long term about, and it's a great line. It's like this is a crime that LA perpetuated upon itself.
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, I love Dodger Stadium too. I'm a huge Dodger fan, and it's sort of this tragic thing that the way we got it was through a series of really bad failures as a city, where we're letting down people who are homeowners, people who came to this country and really like did everything right. They saved money, they worked really hard, they bought land, and then they lose the land, and then it gets sold by the government to a private enterprise. I mean, imagine that happening to you. It would be devastating.
Yeah, of course. And then there's so many stories, and sub stories throughout this. I'd love to keep diving into this a little bit. Maybe you'll come on next Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be around. So
let's continue the conversation, and then while you're here, I've already got your commitment to. I think it's the 13th, April 13th on Monday. We're gonna add another layer to what we're doing with Facebook Live, which will be a long form, and we'll in effect do a podcast that day to really dive into the subject. And so thank you for agreeing to that. We'll keep telling the story because a lot of people here, they're Dodger fans, but a lot of people just don't know the story. And it doesn't mean you're not going to be a Dodger fan. Well, now the rest of the city gets to be Dodger fans because we got a good TV deal. But
finally.
Yeah, finally. But it'd just be interesting to keep diving into the story because it's good to know what's going on in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to. And I think that Dodger fans should know the story. It's part of your team's history. It's part of my team's history. We celebrate all the good stuff, and we're aware of the bad stuff too. And we should kind of accept both as part of who we are.
Now I understand you got a 4 and a 2-year-old.
I do. They're downstairs.
God. Right here. Damn. I told you I wouldn't do it, Eric, and I did. Man. All right. I don't know how long that gig can go on for. I just keep wiping people off. I'm not sure, but it's really fun right now. And it's only because we found the right app that allows you to wipe them off. And Christine, she's super nice most of the time, but then she likes that stuff too. It's fun. It's fun. All right. So I think we got through most of this. How about this? What's coming up next?
Doug O'Neill just texted me and said he's buying Eric's book.
Oh, damn. Doug O'Neill is now in on Casablanca and Eric's book, and that's how this works. All right. Let's talk a little bit about our Wednesday show. So first of all, we launched that Wednesday show so that we had a separate place where we didn't drink margaritas and we could promote our young prep athletes all the way up to Olympians. So that's what the premise of the Wednesday idea was. And then this Friday idea, we hope everybody kind of just joins us, whether you drink or not, but it's more of a happy hour, more celebration into the week. And so we separated that Wednesday off. We did our first Wednesday last week. You heard Carlos and I talking about it at the beginning of the show. And we had Juju Watkins, who as a ninth grader, she got named the LA Times Player of the Year in girls basketball. She's that good. She's outstanding, right? So next week, and we also had Eric Sondheimer, the key columnist for the Prep Sports. He's the voice of Prep Sports in Los Angeles. LA Times, we also had Randy Rosenblum, who does the Prep Sport Report on television. Now, that said, next week, we got a fun lineup. That'll include Mike Boley. You might have saw Mike Boley on this show last Friday, and he was talking about how he's coaching a team during the spring in this era, right? So as of today, we know that there'll be no spring sports for the CIF high schools. That's not going to happen. And it's going to play right into summer. And really people are starting to reevaluate and think that, okay, hopefully we'll have something going by the fall with football. So Mike Boley is a coach at Loyola High School for volleyball. He'll be here next week and he'll kind of fill you in on his chat with his team, letting them know, that they're not going to have it. And also, just kind of projecting and looking forward. What does this mean for those athletes? What does it mean for his younger athletes? All of that. Mike's a, incredible resource, not only in volleyball, but just in sports overall. So we'll continue to lean on that. And Loyola, what a great high school and what a great tradition it has in our city. Also, we'll have on the show another phenom that we won't get to see. Her name's Ella Parker. Now, Ella Parker is one of the highest rated girls softball players in her age category. And so as a ninth grader, she's gone out to Sherman Oaks, Notre Dame High School, where she was going to be pitching for them if she could have this coming spring. That's Ella. It so happens Ella's uncle is Dave Parker of the Dave Roberts of the Los Angeles Dodgers manager. So this, nice little connection there with our author and our subject matter today. But Ella is a tremendous club softball pitcher, and she's going to have a great high school career. is just going to get cut a year short with her not being able to pitch this coming spring. But Ella will be on the show. It'll be fascinating to hear a little bit about her developing as an athlete, and then what she and her teammates are thinking about how they keep things together for the following year. So that'll be on our show for Wednesday. Next Friday, as I mentioned, we'll have my stuffed bags. We're going to have my sister. Her name's Janine, and she is in charge of my stuffed bags. It's a really important charity, and some of these charities get lost at this time. They work with children that are in crisis situations, and they bring them that bag that allows them to have not only, the essentials and toiletry items, but also things like a book or, the teddy bear and so forth. It's really important what they do for these young children that are in crisis situations. And sometimes these type charities get lost in the shuffle of these bigger worldwide situations. So we want to make sure they don't get lost, and we'll have her on the show next week. We'll also have on the show next week, as mentioned, who's up next? I think we got the Rear Admiral, Hal Pittman.
Sorry.
It's all right. We'll just switch it. And back to Hal.
I've had him.
So I get to call him Hal. You guys don't know him that well, so you should call him Admiral Pittman. But I get to call him Hal. And he picked up the phone today when I called him. And I said, "What's up, Admiral?" And he's like, "Oh, this is Denny. Like, why are you bothering me?" He's in charge of crisis centers right now for Fortune 500 companies. But he goes, "I'll get somebody to cover me, and I'll come on your show next week, no problem." So you get to hear from him. Also, his podcast drops on Thursday. So that's going to be a really good show next Friday. Oh, wait, did I mention Neil Everett from ESPN? No joke. That guy with the top 10 and all the snide comments, hilarious on the LA version with Stan Everett on ESPN. He's coming on next week. So that's a pretty good show. Yeah, not bad. All right, we're getting somewhere. What do we got next, Christine? I think we've done that. And now we get to move on to
Box Cobbler Entertainment,
so we have linked ourselves with Box Cobbler Entertainment, and their key client is Ray Castro. He's a talent beyond talent. He does a lot of the commercials. He does the commercials for Casablanca, the theme song there. He also submits to our Instagram site. So we're fortunate that we even could get a meeting with Box Cobbler Entertainment, let alone their number one client. So Ray's going to do a tribute to Bill Withers, and then after that, we're going to go.
Let's start with Sidewalk Chalk.
Actually,
I've got a couple issues on video right now.
So our director,
Sidewalk Chalk is ready.
Okay, we'll back it. We'll turn it around. How about we go with Sidewalk Chalk? Last week I showed you while I'm out just walking, just filming some of the sidewalks, and I hope you guys would do some submits. So we got a couple submits, and we got some of what I do when I go out walking with the mascot of Sports Stories with Denny Lennon, my dog Buck. So you can see some fun stuff. I would love it if some of our listeners, some of our people that are watching, whether it's YouTube or on our Facebook channel, will submit what they see when they go out and walk. So here's a little bit of the fun stuff. And then at the conclusion of this, we're going to close out with Box Cobbler Entertainment, Ray Castro. So it's this, then Ray Castro. And we'll see you again next week. Actually, we'll see you Friday. No, Wednesday. Listen to our podcast, sportsstoriespodcast.com.
When I wake up in the morning light,
One baby.
and the sunlight hurts my
Can you
eyes,
take me on?
something without
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. She's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. Rest in peace, Bill Withers. See you guys next week.